Hey, joining us here now, Jody Sims. And Jody, I'm going to let you continue to work here. Jody is an artist, an author, a breast cancer survivor, and we started off talking about cats at the beginning of the show. You're a cat lover.
I am. I have two cats, Scout and Bo, and Scout was my muse for my painting and my book.
For all of these, okay, now the paintings have a really whimsical quality to them. The eyes really are speaking to me here. It's like those eyes are looking right into my soul. Is that kind of what you're working on here?
That's pretty much what it is. I showcase these paintings in my book called Soul Provider: Conversations with My Cat.
And you and I didn't talk ahead of time, and I just came out. This is the first time I've seen the paintings, and that was my first response to them. So if that's what you were shooting for, I'd say, well done.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Now, tell me why the cat? Why is the cat the subject of your work?
Well, I walked into an art class after having not painted for about 30 years, and I didn't know what to paint, and the only thing I could think of was an outline of a cat. I just painted a cartoon, and then it just so happened that I just kept painting this cat face over and over, and each cat sort of represented a stage of healing for me, and then I wrote about it in the book.
Well, now that we've seen your work, let's work backwards here a little bit and back up and tell everybody what was going on in your life.
Well, my partner had been hit by a semi-truck and suffered a brain injury and was unable to work or drive.
Oh,
then
gosh.
7 months later, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And after the end of all my treatments and 2 weeks before the end of radiation, I found out that 2 people in my life who were very close to me passed away, and then that I would not have a job to go back to, and just things piled up.
And the job, that was one of those things, you know, you lay all those things out very quickly, but it didn't happen quickly. And the way stress tends to build up with people and sorrow and anguish builds up over time, you thought they were going to hold your job for you, but this dragged out almost a year.
Yeah, it just kept dragging out, and the doctors were saying you need few more months, and just emotionally and physically devastated. I needed something to get me back on track and to figure out who I was again.
So in your conversations with your cat,
yes.
What did you discover?
I discovered that I was, for example, feeling anger, but I didn't want to be angry. And so they were whimsical in a way, but they're also very serious in a way.
Sure. Now, who did you write the book for?
I wrote it for myself, but I have found that sharing my story helps to heal me, and it oftentimes will heal someone else.
It'll resonate with other folks.
Very empowering, yes.
Yeah, I can only imagine. The healing, though, didn't come about all at once, I'm sure.
No.
Can you talk about some of the stages of it?
I'm still healing. The different stages were anger and fear, and then there was a stage where I just needed to ask for help and I didn't know how to, and there was then the discovery of figuring out who I was again and sort of presenting my philosophy of life in the last few paintings.
So how did your work change during that? Do you feel like your work reflected those stages as you went through it?
It definitely did. Sometimes I can't even believe how it happened or that it did happen. Each one was sort of a different technique that I was exploring, and I would sit and stare at a blank canvas and then decide the colors. It was kind of just all coming out of me. It was definitely in a meditative
Let me just ask
state.
you about a couple of things you've written on a couple of these paintings. I think Brooks is, he might be looking at the one right there that says, pray for me.
Yes.
And then he's got another one here that says, I see red.
Right.
But what was going on in your mind? Is that, I'm sure those words are significant.
Well, pray for me was interesting because once I completed that painting, I had it on my iPhone. I took a picture of it and I was showing it to everybody I saw, and I realized that what I was asking them to do was pray for me. I really needed help, and every time I showed it to someone, I would say, pray for me. And I really felt it was life-changing. It was, everything really changed after that, and I was starting on a more positive path.
It also sounds like one of the keys to human beings finding meaning in their life is relationship. And when you ask somebody to pray for you, there's nothing more intimate than that. There's nothing more vulnerable than that. You're saying, I can't do it myself.
It's true, and the whole time I was going through cancer, I found myself sort of hunkering down and not sharing the experience. So that was one of the things that I needed to come out and tell people what had happened to me.
Well, look, I want folks to come out and see you tonight. I want them to pick up a copy of your book, and this has just got to be wonderful for the soul, for anybody, whether you're going through problems, somebody you know is. But Upstart Crow Bookstore tonight, 5 o'clock. Now, this is in Seaport Village. Upstart Crow Bookstore, 5 o'clock, Seaport Village. Come meet Jody Sims. And will you be displaying some of your work down there as well?
Yes.
Now, is your work for sale? Or
It
is this all things that you're hanging on to because of the significance?
I have prints for sale, and I'm eventually going to sell the originals too.
Eventually.
Yes.
Eventually, but not just yet.
And the books are for sale.
Okay, very good. Again, the book is Soul Provider, Conversations with My Cat, Upstart Crow Bookstore today, 5 o'clock, Seaport Village. So, Jody, thank you so much. God bless. Thanks for coming in and sharing with us.
Thank you very much.
That's a wonderful story. Okay, coming up here.